All right, guys. So this is going to be including some of my testimony. Um, there's injustice in our justice system. It's called not good by reason of insanity. It's absolute bullshit how it's structured. So I'm going to be proposing something else through this video, and I'm just going to be posting it to see if maybe it gets some publicity. I don't know, but I've written a proposal. I didn't finish it, but I mean, it's pretty good, what I've got written. And then after I read what I've got written, I'm just going to go on and just speak on what I think else needs to happen, in the NGRI system to make it justice. Because I know justice, I have a gift for the truth. And I just believe that, what I believe is true justice, for mentally ill people who've committed crimes. If you don't know what not good by reason of insanity is, it's committing a crime, but you were not in your right state of mind at the time of the crime because of an undiagnosed mental illness, or because your medication stopped working or something like that, and you can't be held accountable for your actions because you had no ability to stop yourself from committing the crime. And it happens. It happened to me. If you don't know, I was in a car accident. I was hearing things in my head that told me to basically kill myself, but it said that it was the end of the world. It said that it was the rapture. It said that no one was left on earth. And it said for me to kill myself in a car accident. And I believed that it was the end of the world. I believed that, I believed 100% that I was supposed to die, because God said, or the thing in my head said, crash your car into that car and kill yourself and you'll be with me forever. And I thought that nobody was on earth. I thought that the car that I was hitting, maybe it had a body in it, but I didn't know that it had a soul in it. I didn't know that it had a person in that body. I thought it was lifeless, so I crashed into the car and a lady died and I went to jail. And I'll just read the proposal. I talk a little bit about it, but if you guys want to click off the video because you think I'm a murderer, just pray about it, just pray about it and just ask God if I'm a murderer. Or you can cast a lot, because I'm not a murderer. I'm completely innocent. I didn't kill that lady. It was something going on in my head that killed that lady. I was manipulated and used, and I was blamed for an evil that wasn't mine. And I've had to serve, I had to serve almost 3 years locked up, and since then I've been on probation, and it's been horrible. My whole life is ruined. I can't make any money. I'm stuck, living with my parents, and it's been horrible. And, this girl that I really like, that I want to be with, she's not responding to me. I don't know what that's about, but, I don't know, I just, I want to be with her and I can't be with her, so anyways, I'm going to read this proposal, what I have so far, just so you guys can get a good idea for how injustice is prevailing in this system. So, hello, my name is Jack Jordan, and I'm an NGBRI person on probation in the community. I live in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and I've experienced injustice after injustice at the hands of the criminal courts in my case. I've also witnessed injustice countless times through my incarceration at ELMHS. It's a forensic hospital. It's the only forensic hospital in Louisiana. It's a state hospital. So in my time in the group home SFF, which is on ELMHS grounds, so what we are here today to discuss is the status of being NGBRI and what happens post-trial. I'm going to cover being civilly committed to the hospital. So civilly committed, so when you are trying to get an NGRI, they send you to the hospital to evaluate if you are competent, and to evaluate if you're competent. And if you are deemed not competent by a criminal court, then they make you civilly committed and they commit you to the hospital to the doctor's opinions, to let you try and get out. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, and you don't go back to court. You're just on the doctor's. You're just at the mercy of the doctors completely. So anyway, Also, I'm going to cover being civilly committed to the hospital, as these two statuses go hand in hand. So to start, what is NGBRI? NGBRI is the verdict given to a person who has committed a criminal act, but at the time of committing this act was not in their right state of mind due to a mental condition that they had no control over. Either it was undiagnosed or it was treated and something happened to where this person was still unstable even though they did everything in their power to hold on to sanity. In my case, I was 18 and I had thoughts in my brain I believed to be a prophetic anointing from God, which led me to thinking that I was the only one left on earth and had somehow survived the rapture. They then told me to commit suicide via my vehicle by driving into another car. I thought this car was empty and I fully believed that it was the rapture. I survived and a woman named by the name of Stephanie Payne was killed. To this day, there is no guilt in my heart over this woman's death, and you may say that I am a murderer, but to that I will reply the God honest truth that I had no idea that I had ever killed anybody. The first time it crossed my mind was when I was in my jail cell. A man told me, "That's fucked up what you did to that lady." And I questioned it. I said in my mind, "Lady? I did something to a lady?" I had absolutely no idea. My heart was unburdened by guilt because I had no guilt in Stephanie Payne's death. So then I go through my criminal trial, and I asked him, I was like, "What lady?" You know? And so anyway, so then I go through my criminal trial. This all made complete sense and was done exactly by the book, and I got justice. I got exactly what happened as my verdict, not guilty by reason of insanity. This, however, is where things start to get murky. I was put in a group home, but I was lucky. Most get put on a waiting list to go to Jackson, to ELMHS, to a place called the Compound. This waiting list usually takes 2 years in jail, so imagine you are found NGBRI on one count of a class 4 felony, which is 1 to 3 years in prison, and your criminal trial took around a year, which is standard, and you are now just getting to Jackson after being on the waiting list for 2 years. This is the maximum time your charge carried already, and you have been incarcerated, and you are just starting to go through the system. See my point? It is ridiculous. And there are many people who go their whole lives who literally have simple destruction of property as their main offense. One example is a guy named, I'm not going to say his name because I don't think he wants to say his name. He wants me to say his name, but he's civilly committed. I know him in the East Forensic Hospital system. And he's been on simple destruction of property for 7 years, man. 7 years, and it's ridiculous. So anyways, why can't they get out, you may ask? Because you have to be absolutely perfect to move up in the system. Absolutely perfect. One fight and you are set back a year. One time being found with contraband and you are set back another year. In contrast, in prison, you just move to a more secure facility if you get write-ups. But when your time is up, it is up and you go home. That is justice. Not this stuff with the NGBRI system. So going back to our example, then you start your journey through the system starting at the Compound. If you have absolutely no write-ups and get lucky with your doctor, you will be out of the Compound in around 6 months. Then you go to, if you are NGBRI, to a place called ITU. If you are civilly committed, you go to Evangeline. You can be at these locations for years. I know a guy on ITU who stabbed someone in the neck with a knife the size of your thumb, which is aggravated battery, who does not get in fights and keeps to himself, but because he is honest with the doctors and tells them he has bad thoughts, they keep him bound. He does not want to lie and is an honest man, but because of his honesty about this torment from this mental illness, they won't let him move up. He will never get out and he is harmless. He just has bad thoughts, and I'm sure that many, many, many others who are out in the world, and maybe many who will read this, will have and have had. Everyone has had bad thoughts from time to time. It's just that these doctors focus in and think that they're solving things that aren't problems by saying these thoughts are going to come to fruition. The only reason he stabbed the man was because he feared for his life, and it was because it was in a barracks where there was a lot of screaming and confusion. It is a very raw deal for him, and nobody tells his story. He is a forgotten soul who will be laden with hardship from these doctors who don't care about anybody and are working an underpaid position. Just imagine you were in his shoes. Just imagine you were in a ward with a bunch of people trying to steal the snacks that you worked for. You haven't heard music in 20 years. You haven't had a comfortable blanket in 25 years. You haven't had Popeye's fried chicken in 26 years. And you haven't seen the love of your life in 10 years since you moved on because you're never getting out. And you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to be a monster. It's just that you're stuck in this rut because you keep being challenged by idiots with egos and who are screaming at the walls, and they're trying to kill you. You have to defend yourself, and you become lifeless. You become empty. You become worthless. You become what all those guards treat you, which is dirt. And it is horrible. It is a mental institution, and it is called ELMHS. I dealt with it, and the only reason I got out is because I had a rock star lawyer, I had a rock star family, and I had a rock star attitude and prison IQ to know what to do and when to do it. And guess what? It was all almost thrown away on Monday morning. I almost got sent back. Why? I was not perfect in one small area. You may ask what, and I will tell you. I take a mood stabilizer called Depakote, and it was unclear to me how useful this medication was to me. I believe in God and I trust Him over everything else because I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. You may call me foolish and you may call me religious, but I go to Him with every major decision I have. So I do not hear a voice that I call God, but I do read the Bible. And in the Bible, I have read the Bible. And in the Bible, the 11 disciples, after the loss of Judas, choose Matthias to take his place by casting of lots. They put the lot in God's hands and asked them to lead him. This is what I did with the Depakote. God told me to get off of it, so I asked my psychiatrist about it. He said that we could do it, so he agreed. And God agreed, so my psychiatrist told me to get off slowly, but the lot told me to get off altogether. Because both were saying get off, I gave priority to the lot and followed God because I will always follow God with my whole heart. I don't care what this world throws at me or what comes about because of it. I love my Father and He is my leader and my guide. And if I have to go to prison for all of my days because of that, I will do it. It was not mental illness, it was faith. So I stopped the Depakote completely. I then started having thoughts like I did before, where I could not turn off a continuous stream of thoughts. I was completely rational, just as I was at the time of the initial car accident. And if anything had told me to do anything crazy, I was super aware of what was happening and would not have been violent in any way ever. Literally all I did was lay in my bed and stare at the ceiling and just think and try to get to the end of the thought train. This led to one night where my sleep was off. The next 2 nights I slept fine, but I still could not turn my brain off. I then decided it was not going away, and I had thoughts that were telling me to tell my parents. I did this. They alerted my doctor, and I was whisked away to a private hospital where he asked me what was going on. I told him exactly what I told you, that I listened to God over everything, and God told me to stop the Depakote completely. So that's what I did. And I just figured, also, if I'm stopping the Depakote anyway, then, if I'm going to have problems, won't I have problems anyway? I may as well just get off of it completely, So it was like a lot of things went together that I reasoned, let me just get off of it completely, He did tell me to wean off, so I did disobey him in one small area. But for me to get sent back to the hospital over that, it's kind of ridiculous. So anyway, I then started having thoughts like I did before where, I already read this. All right, let me see. So that's what I did. And then he admitted me to the hospital and put me on all sorts of medication. I then was fine the next day and the train of thought ended. I then had to stay in that hospital for 6 days doing groups and do nothing. They literally asked trivia questions and it was so pointless. You literally learn nothing. They asked what your favorite color is. I did nothing, laid in paper sheets, ate the worst food. I followed every command they gave me to a T. I then was released and my judge gave me an order to be sent back to Jackson and she expected me on court on Monday. She does not understand that I'm not hearing voices. I'm not experiencing mental illness. I'm not dangerous in any way. I made a decision based off my faith in God that is not that far off what my doctor told me, and she saw this as psychotic. The only thing that kept me out of Jackson was my doctor proposing an intensive outpatient service for 12 weeks, a 12-week program. So that is what I am enrolled in now. This whole debacle has made me realize that if I want justice, I'm going to have to fight for it. And that is the reason I'm writing this proposal. So anyway, normally after ITU, if you are absolutely perfect for around 6 months in ITU, so that means no write-ups. It could be longer if you get unlucky with your treatment team, which is your doctor and your social worker. You move up to a place called CRU. You stay here for years. You can stay at CRU anywhere from a year to life, depending on if you have small stupid write-ups like having 3 blankets or like having too many snacks. We're talking about 5 honey buns instead of 4, or like borrowing and trading, something that makes no sense to stop and that will never be stopped no matter what you do. These small insignificant write-ups add up. We aren't talking about not taking your medicine. We are talking about being a danger to yourself or others. We are talking about insignificant small errors in made-up rules that are not written down, that the staff have different conflicting interpretations about. It is not organized and it is not standardized. But different CGTs and lieutenants, officers in Jackson will reprimand you and set you back simply because you did something as simple as tear your plastic prison armband off. For your information, if you do this, your level gets reset. The armband costs maybe 30 cents and level 2, it takes 30 days to achieve. Level 3 takes 112 days. Level 4 takes 182 days, all with no write-ups. It is utterly ridiculous how perfect you have to be. And these people are not judging you based off of your danger level or threat or a standardized rule book. They're judging you based off of their own opinion, off of giving up your dignity to be your own man with these little things. I understand that the facility needs to run a certain way, but these small write-ups should not be taken into account on if you move up in the system or if you move up for release. If someone breaks a small rule, they should have a small punishment. If they break a big rule, they should have a big punishment. And if they break a legal rule, then and only then should they have a legal punishment, aka more time. This is the only time anyone should be set back and given more time if they break a legal rule. As in something that they do something illegal. This includes assault, contraband, things that add more jail time even in real prison. And depending on the severity of the case, it is extremely severe, then new charges should be added. If less severe, when their quarterly or biannual review comes up, just deny them. Because this is what I'm saying. You get all these small reviews for all these small increments of freedom, but you just have so many reviews from all these doctors. You have to pass review panel after review panel. Review panel is having 3 doctors evaluate you and give opinions on your case. But what it should be is you should, once you get in GRI, you should be committed to the hospital, and then 3 months after that, you should have your review. And if it's a misdemeanor, have 1 doctor. If it's a felony under 10 years, have 2 doctors. And if it's a felony over 10 years, you should have 3 doctors review you and have, all of them come up with this consensus to let you out or keep you in. And if they say to let you out, then you go free, because it's like they just need to review if you're stable. That's really it. If you're stable on your medication, because your mental illness is what caused you to commit that crime in the first place. And if you're stable and taking your medication, and if you've demonstrated that you're faithful, at the end of the day, you're going to need to do that on your own because you're your own man. These mentally ill people, just because they have mental illness doesn't mean they can't be trusted. Like for me, I don't want to go back to prison. I don't want to go back to jail at all. I want to follow everything that I have to do to get out. You know what I'm saying? And to just be free. But it's like these people, it's too many evaluations, and it's too long, and it's too much delay. It's just so much time, and it just makes me lose my fight. It makes me lose my will to live, man. Like, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm never going to kill myself, but it just makes me wonder why God let this happen, and because I'm innocent. I don't deserve this stuff. And a lot of the NGRI people are innocent too. A lot of them are bullshitters, and they shouldn't have gotten the verdict. But, people are always going to lie. That's why you need to be very careful on who you give this verdict to, because it is innocence. At the end of the day, it's proven innocence. And also, civilly committed people are innocent because they haven't been proven guilty. That's in our law. So these people are considered innocent, but they're being treated like they're guilty. And it's absolutely injustice, because I know it's injustice because I've experienced it firsthand. So anyway, let me keep reading. So once you are found perfect for around a year and you get lucky enough to have what they call a review panel, it is meaningless because they do new evaluations on every small step up, and they ask the same questions and review the same records. It is a waste of time and money and effort by the state. And if you pass said review panel, you can get recommended to go to a group home or to home if you are lucky. 95% of the time, the patient will go to a group home. This is where I went right off the bat because my lawyer and family had and then convinced the judge of it with my record of compliance. So at the group home SFF, on the campus of ELMHS, you can enter yet another place where you are judged even closer. In this place, if you get 1 write-up for anything, your level is reset and you are sent back to the first ward. It usually takes around 3 to 8 months to get off of each ward, and there are 4 wards. Once you get to the 3rd ward, that is where you start to consider you to be moved to another location, and more doctors are brought in to evaluate if you are ready to leave. So max time here, 2 years with 0 write-ups, absolutely 0 write-ups, 2 years absolutely perfect to get off of this step. So it's like, it's ridiculous, man. Just imagine if you had a misdemeanor and you have to go through all these steps. It's ridiculous. It's not justice. You know what I'm saying? A misdemeanor, simple destruction of property, man, and you're civilly committed. It doesn't make sense. It's not justice. It's literally not justice. So Second opinions, third opinions, the whole nine, man. I'm sorry. So, yeah. So I was lucky enough that we convinced the judge to send me home from here, but for most, they will go to Harmony. Harmony is a place that is underfunded and very harsh to its inmates. They have the freedom to go to a corner store, but that is really the only other thing that you get when you move there. I've heard they have bed bugs, and the man that owns it, I've heard that he pockets most of the funding that is given to them. Most will stay at Harmony for around 2 to 5 years if perfect. And once given more evaluations by more doctors, and once they have passed these evaluations, they will move on to either independent living or living with family. Once on their own, they will have to serve a probation sentence. Why does someone who's innocent have to serve a probation sentence? Doesn't make any sense. The crazy thing is they don't check if you take your medicine. They don't even do the main thing that they need to do. It's like the only thing that matters is if I'm taking my medicine, right? Because you've already evaluated that I'm stable. So it's like, well, you drug test me? I've never done drugs in my life. I don't have a drug problem. I've been drug tested, 10 times, and I've been on probation for like a year and a half or whatever. It's ridiculous, man. So, So the crazy thing is they don't check if you take your medicine. I always take mine, but you are not required to do anything. And they just have you on normal probation like you are a criminal, when in actuality you are completely innocent. While on normal probation, you are evaluated every 6 months for absolutely no reason by more doctors, and they never give you an inch. Also, they don't really even give you these evaluations because by this point everyone gets the deal. You have no problems. They can slack off. For my case individually, I wanted my driving privileges, and an unelected doctor by the name of Vosberg, who never gives anyone any chances, couldn't find one reason why I should not be allowed to drive, so he asked for a second opinion. Dr. McConville, a great man, responded within 2 weeks, and we got the meeting done, and it was immediate and obvious yes. This happened in May 2023. After this, the third doctor, Dr. Sarah Delan, was given my information and never contacted me. I heard rumors that she was in Kenya, and I thought, wow, what a good lady helping Africans. So 6 months go by, and I have my court date. They say verbatim, he has not seen all the doctors. We can't make a decision. Let's push the court date back in 6 months and hope that all the reports are in by then. I still, to this day, have not heard a word from Dr. Delan, and I don't think I ever will. It's been maybe 9 months, 10 months. And they don't care. They don't care. They do not do their job. And there is a reason they do not do the reports. It is because there are too many about too small things. And I have had to be perfect all this time for everything, and not drinking and not doing drugs and walking the street narrow, taking drug tests when I have never done a single drug in my life. It's just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. That's all that I wrote in the proposal. I haven't finished it, but I just don't think that I'm going to get any publicity if I send it to congressmen or senators or judges, because no one cares about the mentally ill, and it doesn't make any sense. I mean, everyone in this world has some form of mental illness, anxiety, depression, social anxiety, schizophrenia, autism. These things are undiagnosed in these people, and it's like anyone. Because all crime is mental illness, man. Because you have to be absolutely crazy to commit a crime. I'm telling you right now, nobody would ever commit crime if it weren't for mental illness, and that's a fact. Because it's absolutely so obvious that it's just stupid. It's just stupid to do. It's so stupid to do crime, Because why would you risk your freedom for nothing, man? Just live your life, It's like, just live your life, man. So, I hope you guys listen to me, man, because it's just the laws need to change, and I don't know, man. I'm just posting a video trying to get publicity because I'm stuck in a rut, man, and I can't get out of it. And my life is just crumbling around me, and I can't get this girl, It's like I've waited for this girl for 5 years, man. Or at least I've known that I loved her for 5 years. And it's like, I don't know what to do, man, because I'm stuck on probation and I can't live my life. And it's like, that's got to be the reason that she doesn't want to be with me, you know? And I don't know what to do, man. It's just bullshit. And all these people don't give me my evaluations. They don't give me the time of day. And I don't know why I'm being persecuted by the justice system. Because I've done nothing wrong. I'm absolutely innocent, you know? So. Also, another element that I was thinking about that should be added is that if you never pass your evaluations, then you should serve the average time for your charges. So the average time that someone is given in the normal justice system without NGRI for your charges, that should be law, you know? And so say if you have simple destruction of property, a 3-month charge, if the average sentence is 2 months, then you don't even have your first evaluation, just 2 months after you get, and if you have time served, then you're out. But if you get NGRI, say day 1, then 2 months later, you should be released from the hospital. You know, that should be law, because it's like, you shouldn't be held longer than you would have been held anyway. You know, that doesn't make any sense because you still have the same charges, you know? It's like, and guilty is a worse verdict than not guilty by reason of insanity, or it's supposed to be, because not guilty by reason of insanity is freaking innocent, man. It's freaking innocent. So like, guilty is like, you have no idea, man. You have no idea. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's all I gotta say. And yeah, share this with your friends. Just like the video. Help me out, man, because I'm stuck in a rut and I gotta get out, man. You know, this is all I can do. So this is the only thing this is what I'm trying to do. You know what I'm saying? So peace.